Hey, it's James, Parents' Rights and Resources, hashtag how I got custody. Reminder, click the link in my bio, especially if you're a father. There's a section in there that says must see for dads, and it's things that you must have in your arsenal, like the science and the data about father involvement and how kids need both parents. Scientific stuff. Go in there and tell the courts to believe the science and start following the science and stop making up their own bigoted, the new Jim Crow against fathers, where fathers are second-class parents. Tell them to stop believing the hype and doing stuff that they've always done just because it's tradition or it's the culture of the court, and follow the science. Use that stuff in there. It's free. Download it. You don't have any obligation to me or anything like that. This is stuff you would pay your attorney hundreds of dollars to break down to you and to give to you or to research and find for you. But they're not going to do it, and I'm offering it for free. And if you need a consult, if you don't know everything that you need to know on your case, the rules of evidence, the local court rules, the statewide rules, the statutes and factors for determining custody. There's people who've been watching me for months and you've never even looked up, or your attorney hasn't told you, the law and the factors in the law for determining custody. I mean, if you don't know that, you're totally lost. I've talked to a few people in the past couple of weeks. They're thinking about suing the system and suing their judge and suing their guardian ad litem and talking about, I'm a sovereign nation and you don't have any authority over me. Okay, the courts don't give a damn right now. Do you want to actually get your kids, or do you want to win that by losing in court, appealing that to the state Supreme Court, then going to the U.S. Supreme Court and being up there in 8 years while you haven't seen your kids? And even if you win in the end, you missed out on your life with your kids. But nobody's winning that stuff anytime soon, or else they would have done it by now. They've been talking for 50, 60, 70 years like that. Let's be realistic and do what actually works for people. If you don't know everything that you need to know about everything about your case, or like nobody has everything memorized, even lawyers, their job is to go look up the law. If you don't have everything memorized, or if you don't have everything, if you don't know how to look up case law or the law or to find out every answer, then you need a consult with me. And even if you get a consult with me, learn the stuff that I'm talking about so you don't have to keep coming back to me. The more you learn on how to do this stuff yourself, the more you don't even have to come back to me. Your attorney isn't going to teach you that stuff. Then you won't need an attorney. I want to teach people to not rely on attorneys and not even have to rely upon me. Now, that usually takes a few appointments for a couple hours, but it'll save you $10, $20, $100,000. So let's get to this point. You should all know this, that in criminal court, you have a right to confront your witnesses or your accusers, not your witnesses, your accusers. Those people that accuse you, you have a constitutional right to notice of a proceeding and the right to be heard. That's the fundamental fairness doctrine. Write that down. Too many of you sit there and watch my videos or even get an appointment with me, and at the end of the appointment, you're like, hey, can you write me an email? Can you take an extra 30 minutes to an hour to write everything that you just said? Because you're too shiftless and lazy to write stuff down. That's why you're losing in court, because you don't give a damn about your kids enough to write stuff down and to remember it. Like, you'll do that on a test. You do that at a job interview. If there's money involved, you'll write down some notes on what's the best deal on a car that you want. So material things you care about to take the time out to write stuff down and care about. You got to care about your kids enough to put some effort into this. So anyway, write that down. The fundamental fairness doctrine. You have a right to be notified of any court proceeding against you, because in old Europe, they used to have court proceedings against people and find them guilty without notifying them. That's why we have the Constitution, because of how bad things were in old Europe, or when Britain was trying to take over. The most poor, the most destitute, the most oppressed in Europe moved to America. We can say what we want about the history of America and the sins of the past, but they moved to America to flee oppression over there, okay? And they learned from the mistakes or just being governed by an oppressive government, how to create a constitution so the government can't oppress us. But right now, we're such a bunch of punk, sissy little cowardly bitches, mostly talking about these attorneys. They won't stand up for the Constitution, let alone honor it. The judges won't honor it. So you got to go demand it. So when you have a criminal case and you're accused of a crime, you have a fundamental fairness doctrine right. You also, part of that right and part of your due process rights include the right to confront your accusers. Now, when CPS calls you up and say, hey, I want to talk to you, somebody's accused you of something, and they keep it a secret who the accuser is, you should tell them, well, I got a constitutional right to confront my accusers. If you're keeping it a secret as to who my accusers are, I want to question them. So I'm not going to be part of your charade. F you, go to hell, where all you child trafficking demons belong. Because CPS gets $15,000 from the federal government for every child that they traffic and put in foster care. So they'll interrogate you, or they'll assume the worst in you just because of an allegation. Yet when they place kids in foster care, you know what you have to do to be a foster parent? Sometimes it's just fill out a form. There's a bunch of child molesters who are foster care. I see flyers on the side of the road. Become a foster parent. That's how easy it is. Nobody's sitting there saying what a difficult, complex process it is in advertising, become a foster parent and visit your local government branch that helps you qualify. It takes 3 years to become a lawyer after law school. It's really 7 years of schooling. And to become a foster parent, you just fill out a form. A law degree is something held in high regard. How much more high regard is it to parent a child or have custody of a child? And all you got to do is fill out a form, and any Joe Schmo can go in there as long as they don't have a criminal conviction of being a child trafficker. I've had cases where kids have been dragged out from the parents' home, and then they go separate the kids and isolate them and torture them, and they're living with a total stranger all of a sudden, and their house is filled with roaches, or the parents are alcoholics. A lot of foster parents are out there just trying to get a paycheck, just to have kids up in their house, just to make some money. Oh, we got a couple extra rooms. Let's have these kids in here. Let's get, the money that comes with being a foster parent. So my point is, when CPS talks to you, if CPS calls me, first of all, every single person I've ever talked to, when I said, why did you let CPS in your house? Why did you let CPS take your kids? Why did you interview CPS? Why are you meeting with CPS? Why did you say anything? Every single person I've ever talked to. Well, I thought I had to. I don't want to make them mad. I want to be really nice about this, but I have to say, why are you such a punk-ass bitch that you want to surrender your rights and control of your kids to somebody that you're worried about hurting their feelings? You don't get mad. I mean, do you worry about hurting the feelings of a Mormon that you slam the door on? When you tell a Girl Scout, no thanks, you probably crush and hurt their feelings. They're out there trying to sell stuff and raise money, and you'll crush a little girl's feelings. But you're worried about hurting the feelings of somebody who works for the government that says, let me in so I can see if I want to take your kids from you? What the hell is wrong with your dumb ass? And the reason why I say that is because 100% of people I ask when I say, do you know what people need in order to come into your home? Like if the government or a government agent, like a cop or somebody, you know what they really need to get into your home? Oh yeah, they need a warrant. Why are you letting a total stranger into your house that claims they work for CPS, that could easily have some fake ID and be a child trafficker? Why are you letting them into your home? That's just as stupid. This is just, let's look at how, the reason why I'm calling this out, because you're endangering children, you dumbass. You're endangering your own, and they're your children. If we didn't have so many dumbass, coward, simp, punk little bitches out there, CPS would be out of business. You guys are giving them kids to traffic. You're handing over your kids to be slaves to their system. So wake the hell up and think about this. If CPS comes, see, because you'll do it with anything else. If somebody walks up to your house and says, man, that's a 74 Camaro. I love that year. I love that car. I love Camaros. Can I take it for a spin? And you're like, what? I don't know you. Come on, man. We're both Camaro lovers. We're of the same ilk, or whatever. Let me take it for a spin. And they say, no, I don't really know you. I don't really let people drive my cars when I don't know them. And they say, come on, man, it's no big deal. Like, I'm not going to steal it or anything. Come on. Don't you care about your fellow man? This world would be a better place if we all got along and stuff like that. And then they try and guilt trip you into handing over something that's yours. How stupid would that be if you let a total stranger just take your car for a spin? And then afterward, they take it for a spin and don't give the car back. And you're wondering, wow, they're a jerk. Why would they do that to me? A bunch of you idiots After you surrender your kids to CPS, or you let CPS into your house, they find your refrigerator empty, and because you're going shopping the next day and it's the day before your paycheck or whatever, and they're like, well, they're depriving the child of food and this and that. And then you're going in on the defensive saying, no, I'm not. No, I didn't. That was just the day before. You'll go in there and you'll adamantly fight and argue why you shouldn't lose your kids, but your dumbass gave the kids over to them in the first place. Some of you need a freaking wake-up call, because you would not do this with your material things. You would not let a Jehovah's Witness into your home, but you'll let CPS in there? Why? Because they have a badge on their chest? What the hell is wrong with you? You know, I know a guy who, out in Kansas, he called me and he said he hasn't seen his kids in 2 years. I'm like, what happened? He goes, well, CPS came and then they looked at my house and they took my kids. I said, why did you let them in your house? Well, I thought I had to. Why? I don't know. I just thought I had to. And then I asked them the questions. What do the cops need to come into your home? Well, they need a warrant. Why do you think CPS doesn't need a warrant? Oh, well, it's CPS. Well, where's the law and rule that says you have to let them in? I don't know. I didn't know what the rule. So because you don't know, you'll just not act like you got a pair of balls and that your own home and your own kids are yours. They're your freaking kids. You wouldn't do that with your car. You wouldn't let the cops come in and say, oh, we think you guys got a bunch of stolen TVs in here. We need to check the serial number on the TVs and stuff. You might say, do you have a warrant? I didn't do anything wrong. Or you might be a dumbass and you might say, oh, well, come on in, officer. Or even if the cops come over and they say, hey, we came over for a welfare check. Would you mind letting us in? And you say, well, I'm a little uneasy about that. Do you have a warrant? Well, no, but come on. It's, we're doing it for the safety of the kids. We check everything. If everything's cool, you got nothing to hide. Say, well, if you know how to do your job, you got nothing to worry about in getting a warrant. So why don't you do that? Well, you wouldn't mind me just coming in and taking a peek. Well, you wouldn't mind me standing on my constitutional rights. Always ask a question with a question. See, I give you guys all these answers here, but a lot of you are shiftless, lazy bums who like only look at 2 of my videos, and you think you're like, wow, that sounds great. And then you walk in, that's like somebody watches a video and I don't know, like you watch a Lee Priest video and watch him do a hack squat and like, man, his legs are huge. Wow, he's jacked. And you got skinny legs and you want big legs, and you watch the video and you walk away and you never do anything and never work out. And like you wish you had big legs like him, but like you got to take this information and take this stuff seriously. Your life with your kid is on the line. And I got people, their first reaction is, well, I told the guardian ad litem this. I told the psychological evaluator. I told my attorney. They're your freaking kids. You go rescue them. You protect them. All these people jumping in and telling you what to do, you already got possession of your kids. Why are you voluntarily surrendering your rights, letting people invade your life, and surrendering your kids? They're your freaking kids. It's your freaking car in the driveway. If somebody says, hey, let me drive your car, let me borrow your car, or even if you let somebody borrow your car, you'll expect it back. They don't give it back. Oh, well, I let them borrow it. I don't want to make them mad or hurt their feelings. You got to be at work the next day, and they still got your car. Well, it's your freaking car. God, this is so freaking enraging because you guys do the dumbest, moronic, airheaded things and surrender stuff all because you don't have any balls and you're a punk-ass little pussy. And your kids are about to be kidnapped or molested because they get put in CPS foster care. Because your dumbass doesn't protect your kids like you would protect your car or your stereo or your television or your favorite tool chest. Grow some freaking balls. But I just gave you another freebie. CPS, I had a guy talk to me today and he said, CPS said, he's like, well, who did it? And he told me, CPS won't tell me who reported me until I meet up with them and answer their questions. Well, screw you, mother effers. I don't have to give you a damn thing because I have a right to confront my accusers. They're accusing me of child abuse. That's a crime. I'm going to go through the due process procedure of the criminal courts. Oh, you don't want to do that? Screw off. Why would you invite somebody to come in and go watch top 10? Don't trust me. Go trust the lawyers, since you guys are such ass kissers of lawyers and bow down and worship them and lick their anus all day long because all you do, you're such a bunch of punk little sissy cowards that you think attorneys know everything after they first, second, third, fourth, fifth attorney screwed you over and got you for $100,000. Your dumbass won't wake up and realize these attorneys don't care about you. You rescue your kids. If the cops won't go after your kid that got kidnapped, you go after them. The attorneys don't know jack squat. Stand up to CPS. Grow some freaking balls.